Basically, I get a lot of questions about how traders think. Like, what is it that makes a millionaire trader or a really successful trader different? What do they think about? How do they react? What did they do when things happen? And I wanted to do a video today to talk about kind of the 5 hacks I've seen to think like a pro in trading. Those come from the podcast, different conversation I had with different traders, as well as of course my experience in the market and things I've seen for myself that kind of work better. Keep in mind we're already almost at 170 episodes of the podcast so far, which is I think awesome, and there's a lot more to come. Let's jump right into the 5 mindset hack. They're pretty important. Recently I was listening to an audio kind of talk from Jim Rohn. He said something I kind of like, I resonate with it a lot. Life is all about the seasons, and you have to be able to accept the seasons, which means sometimes it will be summer, sometimes it's going to be winter, things are going to get tough, but after winter always comes spring, and after summer always comes fall, and you have to accept that. You have to be able to know that things are going to move up and down, and that if it moves up and everything's good, it's going to come back down at some point, and when it's down, it's going to come back up at some point. And so accepting this can really allow you to not be mad, not be sad because things are not going well right now, because things are not good, or because you have a drawdown, but wait till that recovers, wait till that comes better. And it always will. That's been the same thing for the past 6,000 something years. Always the same principle, always the same routine. And successful traders know this because they don't care about having a bad time now. They know it's going to come back. And they have to do the work, of course, and change and adapt, but it's going to come back at some point. And things will get better for sure. That is the first mindset hack. Accept the season. The second thing is I'm always kind of amazed when I talk to a trader and I ask them what they work on, because they always have this like one thing in their mind that they're working on right now that they want to achieve, like their goal, the biggest thing they want to reach, and they really put in the work on that topic. Now, if you ask a struggling trader, usually they say, well, things are not going too well, I'm not sure why, I think I might need to go back to basics, I might need to, I don't know, what should I do, right? And then they don't really have a thing they work on, they don't really have a goal. They don't really have a plan on how they can become better and how they can move forward. They don't have just one thing they work on. And that makes, I've seen the biggest difference. Even though you might think it's not that important and you still may evolve without that one thing planned out that you're going to work on, it's really hard to do in practice. So you better have in mind your one thing you work on. And then the next step to this is make it a goal and make it mandatory to work on that daily. Like not once in a month, not when you feel like you have to work on this, but daily if you can, or a couple of times a week at least, so that you put in the work and you see this progress and you move forward, right? People that have this one thing in mind but then don't work on it, it's really hard. It's really tough to keep going. So the kind of hack to think like a successful trader is think about what you have to work on and think about it all the time. It should be like an obsession of like every day you wake up and you think about that thing. How can you make it happen? What can you study? What book can you buy? What course can you take? That will allow you to work on this thing to make it work better, right? And the more you focus on that thing, the more you find solution to fix that problem and to move forward. I've seen this for myself. When I have a problem, an issue, like a couple of months back, where I was missing a lot of trades, I just had this thing in mind that I had to find a solution to make it happen, to miss less trades. And then I come across this guy in Germany that was showing me what he does to kind of get alerts on his phone for his trades. And I didn't think about that before. And I just had that thing in mind. But that kind of, I think, attracts you to the right people, the right circumstances, the right events, where you find solutions to your problem and you find ways to improve. And I think you don't have to force things. You just have to kind of think about it, and then things will unfold and happen, if you are willing to think and keep that in mind. So that's part number 2. Have your number one thing in mind that you need to work on, and just keep putting it in your mind every day until you get an answer and you can take a step forward. But keep doing your best to work on it, that's for sure, okay? Hack number 3 is I found successful traders are always willing to invest in the future. If they know they're gonna pay for something now, but that's gonna give them something back in the future, they'll do it because that's a no-brainer for them. And the thing is that unlike people that fear investing in a program or fear investing in like a tool or technology or whatever in trading, these people are confident that they will make the money back and invest. Like, I know if I invest in a program now or in a software, which I've done a bunch of times in the past, I know it's only a matter of time till I get the money back, and I paid it back by working hard, by doing things. And that makes all the difference, right? If you're not confident in your ability to recover what you spend, that's tough. That's really tough. But you need to make it a goal to develop that confidence that you will find the money back, you will make the money back. Whether that will be with your job or with your trading, it doesn't really matter for now. But when you see an opportunity to invest in your future, you should take it. And if you have a doubt about paying this investment back, it probably means that your work ethic is not that high level. You're probably wasting time. Because people that work hard and that put in the work and that found solution to their problem, they know they will make the money back in no time when they invest in something. And you should have the same feeling. Otherwise, I totally understand why you don't want to invest in a course, you don't want to take a program, or you don't want to have a new tool that's going to help you a lot because you feel that you won't ever get the money back. And think about what that does to your mindset, right? How can you feel good? How can you feel confident when you fear not making money? That's terrible. That's, in my opinion, one of the worst things ever. Okay, so keep that window open to invest in your future, but also make sure that you can make the money back and that you feel confident in your ability to make the money back. And if you don't feel confident, work harder and make sure that you have this maybe social circle around you to help you progress, to help you move forward. And that will make a huge difference. So that is number 3. Mindset hack number 4, think like a pro trader. Let me give you an example for this one. So back about a year ago, I had kind of this pretty big drawdown in my account. And when I say pretty big, this was like about 14% or 15% or something like that. It's not that big for most people, but for me that was pretty big. I knew that there was part of it based on the market, but the other part was about the fact that I was doing something wrong. But I didn't know that first. I just thought that the market was crazy, that the volatility was too low, I couldn't trade properly. My trades were not like triggered properly or exited properly and stuff, and I just kept trading until I was kind of pushed by different people to think more about what was happening and to kind of reevaluate my stats. So I printed all my trades, went back through every single setup for the past 2-3 months, and I tried to understand what happened in the past 2-3 months. And I found out there that the issue was partly the market, in fact, and partly me pushing trades or forcing things to happen, or trading in zones in the market that were not that strong, right? You could easily say I don't trade this because it's bad, but I would still trade it, probably because I was in a drawdown. And that is where mindset hack number 4 comes into play. Whenever something tough happens, whenever something bad happens, switch automatically to being solution focused. Don't stare down and say, oh, I've had this big drawdown, it's terrible, I feel bad, I'm not sure what's happening, it's been so tough, please help me. That's not how successful traders think. They instead will focus on solutions. So when I saw this, that there was partly me, partly the market causing the drawdown, I immediately switched to what can I do to fix this? What can I do to arrange me making less mistakes? And that meant simply being more kind of strict in the checklist I was following, like checking everything beforehand and taking a bigger picture view, right? So going when I was calm to all the pairs, all the zones again, to make sure the zones were right and not too forced. Keeping in mind that I would be kind of not enough strict usually about zones, and that I had to be more strict now to make sure I would make less mistakes and take less bad trades. And eventually, of course, corrected and I went back beyond drawdown. But that's an example. A lot of people are gonna complain when they have a hard time because that's the easiest thing ever to do, right? It's simple. You just have to complain. But then you don't get any result, and usually you're gonna have to wait for people to help you out, and that's rarely going to happen. So you might as well take the responsibility for yourself and do the work yourself instead of waiting for other people to maybe help you out in the future. That's mindset hack number 4. And it's kind of hard to implement, but once you do it a few times, it's going to be really easy after some time to kind of apply this, and you won't even think about the problem. You'll just switch fast to solutions, and that is where you know you've applied that thing properly in your mind and in your way of thinking. Okay, so really powerful again. And finally, mindset hack number 5. It's all about what I would call thinking bigger and trying to expand the things you think about and the possibilities you have. The biggest example I see with this every single day is people when I see that they need a big account or big capital chunk to trade full time, are immediately gonna switch to, I cannot do this, impossible, way too hard. If I had this, I would be like successful and rich and stuff, and I would never trade, right? So in other words, they think that they cannot ever achieve this amount, and that's again being not solution focused. But that is also a problem of not thinking bigger. Like there's always a possibility to do everything you want to do. You just have to find it, that possibility and that way to do it. So instead of saying I cannot get that money to trade, try to see how you can get it, and try to see how other people have been able to get money to trade. Just ask other people how they did it instead of saying that you're too small to do it. There's traders I know that went to trade full time. They only had a simple job beforehand, and they traded with $300,000 or $400,000 from the start, right? And that is a big shift. When you see other people doing it, you really are pushed to think bigger. And that is why surrounding yourself with the right traders and traders who done what you want to do is powerful, because then you can ask them what they did and get answers on how to progress. And you won't ever feel like too small or not able to do things, because they showed you it's possible, and that changes everything for you sometimes. So the message here is to kind of think bigger. When you tell yourself it's too hard to do, it's too far, I will never do it, it's a sign that you are not with the right people, that the people around you are thinking small, and that's not what you want to think about. That's a bad idea. So shift your social circle, that will do the trick for this one, and then keep pushing yourself to think bigger and think about other ways you can do it. If people are able to trade millions or hundreds of millions now, and they are people, you are a person as well, and you can as well do it. As long as you put the right actions, study the path these people took, and this will probably make the process easier. You just have to stick to it and keep in mind that you can do it also if other people did it before you. So guys, I hope that makes sense. This is kind of my mindset hack, trick, tips of today. But guys, comment below if you have a favorite one in the 5 I talked about. So to recap, accept the seasons. Right? It's going to be tough sometimes, better other times. Have your number one focus in mind at all times, and keep repeating that to yourself every day what you need to work on and improve. Always invest in yourself for the future. Keep that window open at all times. After a tough time, be solution focused immediately, as always. And lastly, think bigger if you want to achieve your goals. Hope that makes sense. Comment below with your favorite one once again, and give a like on that video if you liked it today. It's getting really dark outside, so I'm gonna finish this up for today. And I'll catch you back here tomorrow. Ciao.